My name is Robin Duncan. I'm the manager of Scotland's Adoption Register, and it's the Adoption Register that organises adoption activity days. Any decision that a child needs to be removed from their birth family is an enormous decision, and quite rightly is only taken with the greatest of care. But where that decision has been made, we know that adoption is a very positive option for children, and it's the job of the Adoption Register to identify possible families for those children. The linking and matching process where you're identifying possible families for individual children, it's a difficult process. It's not a process that most people who aren't involved in adoption have to get involved in. And we don't have a magic formula that's going to tell us which are going to be the best possible matches. So the role of the register is to try and organise a number of events that help with that process. And adoption activity days are one of those processes.
An activity day is when the children come along to a specified venue with their foster carer, and they can have the opportunity to interact with prospective adopters.
We'll try and close off those doors for that initial bit, so we'll use this room and the wee gym hall for kind of games and stuff for that first 15 minutes or so.
For the children, it's a fun day out. They'll receive an invitation prior to the day. Usually the days have a theme. I think this year's theme is the magical islands, and they're given a treasure map and they collect stickers. They play games with their foster carer, and they have the chance to interact with prospective adopters to see if there's going to be the possibility of a potential link or a discussion. The children's social workers also come along, gives opportunity for discussion.
There are two main aims for the adoption activity days. The first is to find families for children who might otherwise not be found an adoptive family through the traditional process. And there have been lots of examples of placements emerging from situations where people have met children at days and felt drawn to those children who they might otherwise not have been linked with through the more conventional process of linking. The second purpose is about finding the right match for the children, where we have the best chance of the adopters being able to meet the particular needs of that child in the years to come. There is good evidence that meeting the child is a helpful part of the process. So all the other things and the careful discussions will still happen, but in the context of what it felt like to meet the child, and that both heart and head are important in this decision about where the child can be best placed for their future life with their family.
It's such a relaxed affair where everyone can just muck in and just have some fun without the stress of it all. I mean, there is a serious side to adoption activity days, but at the same time you're there to have fun, let your hair down, make sock puppets and meet some kids. The kids seem to be quite relaxed and join in with things. Sometimes you can play with the kids and sometimes you take a step back and let them get on with things, but it is quite a really good day.
I think it's a really good environment for foster carers, adopters and children to kind of meet and talk to one another without it being too formal. It's a real kind of nice informal environment. It's quite daunting, I think, for foster carers to do something like this, so I'm really pleased that both of them have really bought into the whole situation, really, and they both happily, I suppose, made this day available so that they could bring the children with them.
I'm here today with my two placements who are a little girl who's 5 and her brother who is 2. Basically, it's an opportunity for prospective adopters to spend time with children who are looking for families. I think on paper the children, it's difficult to describe children on paper. I think seeing the children in reality for adopters must be amazing. bringing them to life. You know, these are just normal children who are looking for families.
I've been to a few before, and I've expressed interest in finding out a bit more about various children, and then my social worker then takes that back and starts hopefully to expand and explore links with the particular child that I've expressed an interest in. It can be a long process for the adopter waiting on the sidelines to some extent, but there's reasons for it, and you just have to go with the flow.
We're going through the process of hoping to adopt 1 or 2 children, and we haven't been approved yet, but we were encouraged to come today to meet some of the children who are looking for families. It's lovely to see, because you know about, not specifically about these children, but a lot of them have got obviously difficult backgrounds, but actually when you see them in this context, they're just like any other children. They're just, you know, smiling, playing, and I think they seem to really enjoy it, which is really good.
My role as a family finding worker is to, first of all, to get to know the child and to write a profile for the child, and to, you know, from that to get an idea of the kind of family that child will need. So we look for some maybe personality traits that are similar to the adopters. Sometimes that's difficult because children are quite young, so it's difficult to get a real idea of their personality. But, you know, if there's a child who particularly likes, you know, outdoors, then you look for a family who enjoys doing walking or being outdoors.
So far, what I've seen, it's been very, very fun. Yeah, everybody's having a great time. It's such a relaxed environment. Yeah, it's just been a good experience.
Well, I suppose a lot of natural worries prior to coming down. It's a it's not a great situation for a child in care to be in the first place. So, you know, something like this sounds a bit strange when you think of bringing your own children down to it. But when you think the opportunities this gives potential for long-term carers, forever homes as we call them, to meet the children, if it's a good opportunity, then I think it's worth doing.
This is the first time I've been to an activity day, and I was really impressed the way it's been set up. The first activity, which kind of introduced the whole day in a sense, and the way they've made that really interesting for the children by calling it islands.
Can you jump up and down like a big Lisa? Can you jump up and down like a big Lisa?
There's a bit of all-together time where people who know what they're doing dance around and do jobs that I'd like to do. Sing songs to children and be silly. I think I would quite enjoy that.
But they aim it to all of you, so you all get involved.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah. So it's children and adults are involved, and then there's group activities where, not group activity. You go off and do whatever activity you want to do. So from puppet making with socks to drawing, getting your face painted, dressing up. Falling asleep, various activities.
The children that I've brought with me they've just had a ball. It's been so much fun, there's so many activities going on.
Everyone's very nice, very welcoming. There's enough activities on the go to keep your mind off it as well. So I think it's not just, you know, the child that's with you that needs her mind taken off the fact what she's come down here for. I think as carers we need to as well. And I think it naturally allows potential adopters to come in about and get involved with what you're doing as well in a very easygoing situation.
I was very nervous to begin with. I have to say I wasn't sure what to expect. I have been to another day where you're looking at profiles, so this is the first time it's actually been real, I suppose is the word. But yeah, it's been really easy. It's been great fun. Yeah, definitely, it's been a good experience. We're all here for a common objective, to try and find a better life for ourselves and for the children. And, you know, it's a relaxed, friendly, well-organised event.
You get alongside them and just ask them, you know, what are you doing? And I think because, you know, children are used to kind of adults doing that, you know, especially if they go to nursery or school, it's not perhaps as strange for them as it is for us. So, you know, some of them are quite happy to chat away to you and let you do things with them. Others are more sort of in their little zones.
You can learn as much by watching as by actually going and playing games or getting into their world. Horsey had a good drink of someone's juice. I think he wouldn't talk to me, but he'd talk to the puppet.
Yeah. And also, of course, you get the chance to speak to social workers. Well, in fact, yes, we did speak to social workers.
Not very much.
And more foster parents, which is interesting to talk to them as well.
I like all the different types of activities and all the different ages and stages and interests for children. And I really like that there's some making things as well as just the sort of soft play type, softer games. So I think there's been a lot of thought put into it. It's a lovely atmosphere and I really, really like it. Before I came, I was worried that the children would be aware of the adopters and are the people speaking to us or nobody's speaking to us, but you know, it's just been great. There are quite a lot of adults here, which I think has been a good thing. You know, there's always adults interacting with the children, whether they're adopters or volunteers, so I don't think any of the children would have felt left out. I'd say from this day there's possibly 4 prospective sets of adopters who are really interested in the children that I've brought with me, which is great. You know, if we can find a family for these children, this has been a great day.
Sometimes you do need to have some quiet time and go at your own pace, but join in. It's fun for you, the adult, and it's fun for the kids, and you get to learn different things that you wouldn't normally do in your normal adult life. It's about having fun, connecting. You're not here to choose a child, but you're here to maybe be introduced to different children. And then maybe start the process of finding a match.
Come on your own terms. So if you're someone who throws yourself into all the activities, just do that and talk to the children like that. If you're more stand off and watch, then that's fine too. I don't think there'd be any problem with that.
My impression with the children is that they're just enjoying themselves generally. The slightly older ones will have been prepared and be more aware, but I think they just look like they're having a great time. So I suppose I just really reassure people that these are really well organised, well thought out, fun days for children, and just to kind of go with the flow a wee bit.
Anybody who's thinking of coming to a day like this, definitely go for it. It's just a really relaxed and fun environment.
I would say to come along with an open mind and see for yourself. I was here at the last one with a sibling group of 3 girls, and they ended up having really good discussions with a prospective adoptive couple who were only approved for 2 children at the time, and they themselves would say that they never envisaged the possibility of 3 children, but actually spent time with each of the 3 girls, they interacted with them, and that actually became a real possibility for them, a reality. And prior to attending a day like this, they never would have even considered 3 children.
You know, I think it's sad that the little girl we have who's 6 might be resigned to a life in permanent foster care. You know, these children, the older children, deserve families as well.
Well, what really struck me was how, professional it's done really, really well, and they've given so much thought to what's going to make the children feel really comfortable, and each little room is different, and you've got quiet rooms for the children who might just sit and want to read a book or even just go to sleep, and then
I don't think there was any there.
Although actually today all the children seem pretty busy and active, and then you've got things for all the, you've got almost everything you could think of that might interest a child, so it's really lovely to see that, and you see them in such a natural, it doesn't feel as unnatural as you would think at all, because children, and because it's in this kind of environment in a school, and as I say, most of the children are either at nursery or at school, or are used to being with at least 1 or 2 other children, and having activities to do, it doesn't feel strange at all, actually.
Almost a quarter of the children who've attended our activity days have ended up being matched with a family who they met on the day as a result of that, and that's been really encouraging. That's more positive than other ways that we have of finding families. But it's also a really good reminder that many of the children aren't matched through those days, and we have to make sure that the days work really well for everybody who attends. Our learning from what we've done so far is that preparation is the key, that adoption activity days can work really well for children, for families, but it is critical that the children are prepared properly for what they're coming to, and that the adults, the adopters, the social workers and the foster carers have the chance to think through what the issues are for the day and how they're going to make the best of the opportunity that it presents.